Hey, Curt Hennig fans. Hello and welcome to another episode of Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. I'm your host, Steph. This is episode 26. Today on our Perfect Podcast, we're going to watch along to Curt's match with the Red Rooster at SummerSlam 1989. I love this match because this wasn't the first time these two met in the ring, but it was a great match between two great athletes. We have reached another milestone of 500 subs. So I have another question that was asked, which was from username Clutch the Government. He asked, when did Mr. Perfect debut and whom did he face in his first match as Mr. Perfect? This was a perfect question. I will answer in the next segment. Before we start, please join me on my YouTube and Rumble channels where if you like what you hear, you can subscribe, comment, like, and share so we can grow these channels. The links for both will be in the description field below this video. I have a new theme song. Of course, because of copyright reasons, I will only be able to show it at the beginning of my episodes on Rumble. So to see this special Rumble exclusive only, check out the link for my Rumble channel in the description field below this video. Please check it out today. I would like to give a shout out and thank you to my paid patron supporter Charlie Brown Politics. Thank you, Charlie Brown, for your support. If you too would like to support my channel for as low as $1 a month, please click the link in the description field below this video to become a paid patron supporter. You will also get your name read on the show. For $3 a month, you will get your name read on the show and you get to ask me a free question, which I will read and answer. For $5 a month, you get all this plus an exclusive behind the scenes of how I do my show and also a blooper reel. Because trust me guys, I screw up a lot. For $10, you get all this plus access to a live patron show where you get to learn more about me. So please click the link in the description field below this video to sign up today. We have reached our next milestone. We have reached 600 subscribers on YouTube. Please help me to reach my next milestone of 700 subscribers. Please also help me to reach 100 followers on Rumble. All links will be in the description field below these videos. You can now follow me on Locals for free. If you would like to support the show, you can for just $2 a month on Locals. Thank you for your support. Okay guys, we're back. So, the question that was answered from Clutch the Government was, when did Mr. Perfect debut and who was his first match against? So this one's a little tough because when in 88, when you first see Curt come in, he's actually come in as himself. Okay, so this is September 1988. He will actually come in as Curt Hennig. Then we see a bunch of vignettes, and then it's like, as soon as the billiards vignette comes out, he has a match against, I believe, it's Jumping Jim Brunzell. So, technically, because of his vignettes, he would, it's like in October of 88. So October of 1988, the vignette for the billiards comes out, and then immediately on primetime, he is, wrestling as Curt Hennig, Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig, but, they still have the Curt Hennig in there, but they're still trying to call him Mr. Perfect, okay? And we will go over that. I think it's a good match with him and Brunzell. Brunzell, of course, was a Minnesota guy, so, and him and Curt knew each other. Brunzell was a little older, I believe he's a little older, but I think he was also one of the ones to come out of Robbinsdale High, along with like Greg Gagne and along with Curt and Rick Rude. So I think that, they were, peas in a pod, the Minnesota guys. And it's great to see that, I know Jumpin' Jim was good friends with Curt. He was friends with all those Minnesota guys. So that is to answer your question. Yes, in October of 88, on primetime, they also, will go over the vignette of the billiards that will drop, and then they go right into the Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. Because I remember quite specifically, it was, I think it was superstar Billy Graham was, commentating, and then, I forgot who was with him. I think it's the gentleman, I don't remember his name, but, I've heard him he was, I think his first name is Larry, but I can't remember the last name. But he also commentated in the AWA. So, there are several AWA events that he also did. I think he did when Curt and Larry Zbyszko were I think they were in Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure they were in Las Vegas, but, when they were in Las Vegas, he called that match too. The voice sounds very familiar, so I'm wondering if he came up from the AWA to the WWF at the time. So, not too surprised there that, they kind of mushed it all together. They actually were in a room trying to figure out, what are we going to call Curt? What are we going to call him? Well, and, this is where I guess Vince or Pat or somebody said, what are you good at? And Curt said, I'm pretty much good at everything. And so they came up with the Mr. Perfect gimmick. But great question, because, it really did make me think, and you have to go back through the archives of the primetime in '88. You have to go to about I think it's October 4th is when they show the billiards promo, and then of course they bring in the match with Jumping Jim Brunzell. I think it's Brunzell that he faces that first time. Pretty sure, someone double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure if I brought it up right now, it would be Jumping Jim Brunzell, who also, funny enough, was in the AWA. And I think Curt and him before Jim jumped to WWF, I'm pretty sure him and Curt had some matches. I know he refereed a match back in '82 when he was kind of jumping from territory to territory, but mainly Curt was in Portland at this time. And there's a match that I downloaded it off of YouTube because I'm not too sure how long it's going to be on there, but it's Jim Brunzell and Greg Gagne versus Jerry Blackwell and Ednon Casey. And Curt is refereeing. He's refereeing. So it was a nice touch to actually see them work, all together in one little match. And it was an awesome match. Curt does I think he gets punched in the face or something. And he doesn't see, or he gets knocked down somehow, and he doesn't see, Adnan Casey hit, I think it was was it Jim Brunzell? I think it was Jim Brunzell that he hits with his cast. He has a cast on his arm. Go figure, right? So he pretends to have a cast on his arm, and he hits, I think it was Brunzell, and pins him. And that's when Curt had to count him down, unfortunately. And he counts, just like a normal person. Of course, Curt was a babyface back then. They couldn't make Curt a heel. It wouldn't seem right. It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't seem right. So to answer your question, this is how it goes on primetime. As far as I can tell, it looks like the first match that Mr. Perfect had was with Jumping Jim Brunzell. And it was, just right after, it literally was right after the vignette with the billiards. Because Gorilla Monsoon, he just keeps saying, I'm not impressed, about his billiard skills. And then when he sees him in the ring, he's like, well, yeah, he impressed me with his wrestling skills. I don't know. I want to say Jesse might have been there too, but it doesn't seem right. I don't think Jesse was at ringside. Somebody, watch that match and get back to me. But yeah, that is the answer to your question. As far as I know, prime time, as soon as the billiards, dropped, the billiards vignette, as soon as that dropped, he did a match with Jumping Jim Runzel. So I hope that answers your question. And, like I said, it'll be episode 26 when you hear it. So Clutch the Government. Good question. So we're going to go over today's little venue thing. We're going to go over, it's going to be SummerSlam 1989, and this is the Red Rooster and Mr. Perfect. Okay, so little things about this match. This is not the first time they've met, in WWF. Rooster this is after Bobby Heenan, and of course he became a babyface. At first, when you see Curt in 88, you see Rooster as well. And he came in as Terry Taylor. Of course, everyone knows who the Red Rooster is, or at least you should. If you know anything about wrestling, trust me, it's the Red Rooster. Or it was Terry Taylor first. Try saying that 5 times fast. He came in as his regular name, and then they gave him, Bobby says, I gave him the Red Rooster, and that was at Survivor Series 1988. So, as of then, he was the Red Rooster. And because he was with Bobby Heenan, of course, when you're with Bobby Heenan, you're always a heel. So they made Rooster a heel. Until, I want to say 89 sometime. I think it was right before WrestleMania 5 that they turned him babyface. Terry Taylor became babyface, or the Red Rooster became babyface. So, and it always seems to happen during a Curt Hennig match that Bobby would go ballistic and, leave the set for primetime wrestling. It just seems so weird, like he would just get all upset, and it's during a Curt Hennig match that he literally gets all upset and leaves the set. and gets his own show. He gets the Bobby Heenan show. So, how convenient, right? Well, it was also during a Curt match, with the Red Rooster, that the Brooklyn Brawler, who was having a feud with Rooster at the time, would come out and interfere. And of course, Curt rolls back in the ring real fast, and the Red Rooster gets counted out, I believe. So, at this point, I think they were trying to determine how long they wanted this perfect record to go on for, because a lot of times in 89, Curt will win by countout, or, it'll be like, a time limit draw. A lot of that happens sometimes. I know the one with Hercules, the one with Tito Santana. There's several matches where he literally will go to a time limit draw. His matches throughout 89 with Bret Hart would go to a time limit draw, except for that one that we saw in November, on Prime Time, where he actually wins against Bret. And that, again, that was just because the perfect record was still ongoing. So I think that this is, like I said, a great match, and it did put Curt, where he needed to be. Also around this time, he was starting to do vignettes, on Hogan, because they were trying to push him to the moon. And of course, Hogan would exit. And then WrestleMania 6 comes around, and he's actually against Beefcake, which we've already heard. That match has already dropped, I'm sure, by the time this one drops. We have already watched, along with the WrestleMania 6 and the ending of the perfect record. But he had a great run. Curt had a wonderful run. Do I think his record went on too long? I don't think so. I mean, he was Mr. Perfect. So that's something that they could do kayfabe for once he started losing some matches, and just say, oh, well, it was a fluke, or, he didn't really mean it, or it didn't count. Because if you think about it, I mean, once your perfect record is up, it's kind of hard to call yourself Mr. Perfect. I agree with that. However, Curt made it an art form on, what he could do with, I don't have a perfect record anymore, but I can still get all these wins and still be Mr. Perfect. So I think he had a lot to do with, maintaining that star figure of Mr. Perfect. And again, he played the role very well because he was a great athlete. He was a great gimmick, and he was ahead of his time. I do agree that he was ahead of his time. The whole Mr. Perfect gimmick, was more of a cool heel. You could actually like him and because he was cool, if that makes sense. And he the whole thing about him going on Regis and Kathy Lee and not wanting to bowl Regis is because in that day you had to keep up kayfabe. And, it kind of made Regis mad that he wouldn't bowl him. But you have to understand, again, Regis wanted to somehow prove that wrestling wasn't real. And why he wanted to do that with Curt, I have no idea. But it was a good thing that they were able to talk Regis out of the whole kayfabe thing. Because again, if, Curt didn't get a strike, guess what? You can't call yourself Mr. Perfect if you don't. And I know that made Curt very nervous because, again, he was just trying to keep up kayfabe. And, you can't just go on a live TV show and, not get a strike and call yourself Mr. Perfect. It wouldn't work. People would stop buying tickets. So I think in the grand scheme of things, I hope Regis wasn't too put out. But, I mean, you have to think of Curt you have to think of the wrestlers. Okay, they're just trying to keep up a gimmick so they can sell tickets and bring fans into it and, make a living. This is how they made their living. But, it's a really great match. Like I said, it's SummerSlam 1989. They are in New Jersey. And, I think, it's Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura both commentating at this time. And they do a great job, I think. So we're definitely going to, be doing that in the next segment, is listening and watching along. I don't know if there was any music, but if there is, I will have to turn it down for copyright reasons. And then I'll turn it right back up as soon as the music stops. I don't remember if Curt had music at this time. I don't think he did because this is pre-Lanny. It just means that Lanny Poffo, or the Genius, was not his manager yet. So, I think if this is pre-Lanny, which I'm pretty sure it is, he didn't have any music. Red Rooster might have some, because that was more for, I think the music was more for baby faces, but I'm not sure. I think they just go to, Curt in the ring. And then there is a little promo that I do want to watch along to. In the next episode, episode 27, we're actually going to do the watch along to Curt and Brett at SummerSlam 1991. And I'm going to add Brett's commentary, cause I do have that. And then I'm also going to add Curt's commentary of what he thought of Bret Hart. So, what both thought of the other. But, we're going to watch the match and then we're going to watch the little promo afterwards because it's a great promo that he has, with Gene. It's both me and Gene Okerlund. And then, I'll say some ending comments about it and then we'll go from there. So I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Okay, guys, we're back. So if you will go to your Peacock subscription, if you don't have one, that's fine. You'll just have ads in between. As soon as your ads are done, just go ahead and join me. I do have a subscription, so I do not have any, commercials or anything. So we're actually going to start at, so if you go to your Peacock subscription, go to SummerSlam. It's SummerSlam, 1989. And you're going to start, it's season 2, episode 1. Of course, there was, SummerSlam 88. And that's right before Curt comes. I think Curt was still doing dart matches at this time. He just wasn't on SummerSlam. Okay. So, we're going to start at 35 minutes and 40 seconds. Now, they are doing a promo here with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So we're going to see a little bit of that. And then it goes right into the Curt Hennig and Rooster match. So I'm going to say press play now. And this is when Demolition was baby faces along with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who had just become King Duggan. So, I mean, it is what it is. Oh, it's Tony Schiavone. I forgot about that. All right, I'm going to turn it down because it does have Rooster. Rooster had some music. Curt did not. Not yet. Like I said, this is pre-Lanny Poffo. And of course, Lanny, he would eventually get music when he goes on the Brother Love show. So here's the Red Rooster coming down. This is Terry Taylor. And like I said, not the first time they've met, so... Yeah, this is the Meadowlands Arena, and you'll see that there. So here's just Rooster, And what's awesome about Curt's singlet here is it's black, it's green, and it's blue. My 3 favorite colors. It's like, how did he know? Alright, we're going to turn it back up because the music is over, and they're going to start. And he hits the gum. I love that. Curt was always good at hitting that gum away. I love how Curt will mock Terry Taylor. It's awesome. He mocks him. Chicken strut.
Chicken strut. I don't think the Rooster take too kindly to that. A Rooster strut then. Boy, that found its home.
Sounded like he smacked his arm though. I love that singlet though. My 3 favorite colors. It's like, how did he know? Ooh, ouch.
I thought the Rooster was quick, but I gotta think Mr. Perfect's a little bit quicker. Now measuring the Rooster. Oh, a standing drop kick. That was totally awesome. That takes a lot of ability to get your legs up that high and deliver a blow.
Now that's perfect. That's right.
I think I was the first one that ever did that, a standing drop kick. The first one? First one, I think. Right to the back of the head.
I forgot they brought Tony Schiavone in '89 to do some commentary. They also briefly in 1990.
Oh, look at that. Cheap shot right to the eye.
Oh, yes. Perfect Plex. I like when he would mouth along to the ring announcer. Now we're going to see a replay.
Tony, right here you see Mr. Perfect hooking the Rooster with the perfect Plex right here. down for the 3 count. Mr. Perfect stays perfect.
That's right.
There it is, a tremendous win.
All right, if you could hit pause now. All right, so you should be at 40 minutes and 53 seconds. A very short match at WrestleMania. Oof, I'm okay. At SummerSlam 1989. But I do want to do his promo here that he's going to have with Mean Gene. So, about the match, it was a little, it was a little bit, fast, but, it wasn't long. Let's just say the promo wasn't long. I'm sorry, not the promo. The match wasn't long, but he did a great job, I thought. There's just, sorry. I was trying to get it to the other side, so I apologize for that. I'm just going to go ahead and get his promo up here, and we're going to listen along, and then, I will say some closing statements. So I will catch you guys on the flip side. Okay, guys, we're back. So we're just going to do this little promo here. So right now, I'm going to turn it down just briefly because there's music for the Ultimate Warrior, or somebody had just won. I think the Ultimate Warrior just beat Rick Rude for the belt again. He had lost it at WrestleMania and got it back because Piper comes out and intimidates Rick Rude, and then Rick gets pinned. So I'm just going to, we're at 1 hour, 23 minutes and 46 seconds. So if you could hit play, go ahead and hit play now. You can listen to that music for the Warrior. They're talking to Sean Mooney in the crowd there. So I mean, he's just, everyone in the crowd is very happy that the Ultimate Warrior just got the belt back. Warrior's swinging it. Of course he's swinging it, He just won it back thanks to, like I said, thanks to Piper. So he's gonna get on the ring here. Kind of show everybody the belt that he just won again. Alright, Mean Gene.
Taking place out of the Meadowlands Arena tonight, we see some happy faces and some not quite so happy, including this man. Come on in, Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig. Earlier on, you were victorious here in SummerSlam. There's never been anything like it before, and there'll never be anything like it again. And I'm referring to Mr. Perfect. Red Rooster, you're a perfect example of everybody in the World Wrestling Federation. And I want everybody to listen up right now. Red Rooster, you are a stepping stone, and Mr. Perfect, he does what he says he's gonna do, and I did it, and I defeated the Red Rooster 1, 2, 3. All right, I thank you very much.
You're gonna show a replay. And Curt switches sides with Gene.
Here comes that perfect flex, is that correct? You remember this, and everybody remember this. Nobody beats Mr. Perfect.
Nobody.
All right, those are the words.
And hit pause. You should be at 1:25:21. So I just wanted to add that little, promo in there. So, I'm going to put everything away, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Okay, guys, we're back. So again, not a very, long match there, at SummerSlam 1989, but I do think that he, was still trying to get that, that might have been pre the Hogan stuff when he would do the vignettes, to try and intimidate Hulk Hogan. So it's before that they were kind of pushing him, though they were pushing him for Hogan, according to Brett and then Brett's book and stuff. I just think the whole thing got X'd because, Hogan is Hogan. So, I love the match. I do like it a lot. I think it was great. I just think that unfortunately Curt sort of paid the price for it. Cause Hogan thought Curt wasn't in his league, kind of like what he said with Brett. And then, when Flair comes in, Flair kind of does the same thing to Curt. So it's kind of like, two blows at at once. So, I just think this was like a good match for him. At least he got on SummerSlam 89. And of course, 89 is when, SummerSlam 89 is when the Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude, and Rude drops the belt to Warrior. Of course, the Ultimate Warrior gets the belt back and, yay, happy day. By Survivor Series, if you watch from SummerSlam 89 to Survivor Series 89, you will actually see that Lanny is with Curt at this time, and I do believe this is when he gets different music than when he started with. It's almost like Hercules' music at first. It's like something you would hear in if they were doing a movie about a certain religion. You know what I mean? It's like one of those old time movies about a certain religion. That's what it reminds me of. That's what the music reminds me of. But, it was good music. I just think, I think Curt had a different idea. To be honest, I'm surprised Curt didn't go out there with, country music, but then you have to think, would Mr. Perfect like country music? Remember, you have to be the gimmick, not the person. So the person, Curt Hennig, yes, probably loved and adored, I know he did, loved and adored country music. But would Mr. Perfect, the gimmick, would he adore country music? Or was he more of what they would call a snob? I think that's why he might have gravitated towards Triple H, because, Triple H played the blue blood snob or something like that, or blue snob or something. But he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley after Lena Helmsley. Anyway, he played a snob. And I think maybe Curt had that same similar thought. Well, I think Mr. Perfect is a snob. But he was a cool heel too, so you're playing both sides of the fence here, because if you remember in the billiards vignette, he says, pool to you common folk. So that tells me that, Mr. Perfect probably thought of himself as a snob. Like a rich person looking down on poor people or common people was probably said. But I think in the end, Mr. Perfect was definitely a gimmick of a cool heel. Like everyone wanted to hang out with him. Everyone wanted to have a drink with Mr. Perfect, right? That's just what I get from it. I don't know what you guys get from it, but it just seemed to me like every time Curt would come out and he was Mr. Perfect, you just wanted to have a beer with that guy and just get to know him and, what he's like and stuff. Of course, Curt would have to play the gimmick because that wasn't the real Curt Hennig. The real Curt Hennig was not a snob. He was a great man. And I think everybody got that. I mean, so as far as I know, I haven't heard any interview where they're like, yeah, he's a mean person. He really stank. His wrestling stank. No, it's always, that guy was really cool. He was great to be around. Yeah, he was a partier. He liked to go out and have a few drinks, go out to the bar and stuff. And, he liked to do ribs. And that's okay. That's okay. And his ribs are legendary, trust me. We did a compilation on purpose, and I'm going to have to do like an ultimate compilation of just his ribs because, new ones are coming out and they're always talking about Curt. I just saw, they did an interview with Sean Mooney, and this is what I'm talking about. Like when Sean Mooney would interview Curt Hennig or Mr. Perfect, he said he loved Curt. Curt was always making him laugh, and he loved working with Curt and doing promos with him. And I think that's the ultimate gift, that even the commentators enjoyed Curt because he was fun to be around. He loved doing promos and sticking stuff in that maybe isn't too conventional, but it was definitely part of his character and his charisma. And trust me, Curt had charisma. So, I really would like to thank everyone for tuning in. As of this recording, I know the beginning says we were at 700 subs. We are actually at a lot more subs than that, or I think it was 500 subs. So as of this recording, and this is the 21st of February, we are actually over 4,000 subs on YouTube, guys. I am so happy. I can't tell you how wonderful you all are. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm so glad that so many people out there love to hear me talk about the greatest wrestler, in my opinion, to ever live. And he truly was something special. I even had a fan who said, you know, he has in his, little profile, you know, the perfect one, Mr. Perfect or perfect something. And I have to admit, I kind of stole his picture because I'm like, that's a great picture of Curt Hennig. I think it was from 2002 when he came back as Mr. Perfect. So, I just took a screenshot of it. I didn't mean to steal it. I didn't really steal it. I just kind of borrowed it. Because it is a great picture. I love it. He's in a WWF shirt. I think they were just about to turn to the WWE or something. So it was like the get the F out or something of the WWE. So, this has really been wonderful for me, this whole, just making more episodes and talking about Curt. Like I said, his passing was very shocking to us all. And it brings you back to that human moment where we all have to realize, even the wrestlers themselves, we're all human. And we all have emotions, and we all get to that. Sometimes we just get to a dark place and there's nothing we can do. So, I think that wherever Curt is, trust me guys, you're making him smile. By helping me, whether that's on Patreon, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on Rumble, you guys are making him smile because he knows you guys are his fans as well as I am. And that I think he would say that the outpouring of support for me is also overwhelmingly support for him. And that's why we're all here. That's why we do what we do. This is why I keep doing episodes of Curt. Because I'm trying to think of the great word to say, and all I can say is that thank you so much. And I think he would say that too, if he were still with us. And trust me, he would be the first one I would interview. And I would suggest to him that, hey, you need your own podcast. He'd probably look at me like, nah, what would I talk about? Anything, everything. Talk about anything you want. Let's hear some of those ribs. I would love to hear the ribs straight from Curt. That would be so wonderful. But again, if we talk out loud, our loved ones can still hear us. And I know that he's somewhere smiling about all this support and love for him and his legacy, his career. And I just know that he would adore all of you. He would thank you also from the bottom of his heart for all this support. It's just something I could never even think of asking for. And you guys are wonderful. Now that we are starting to actually get some support on YouTube, if you could please go to my community page, and there is a link for my Patreon page. If you could just click that link, and like I said, if you can spare $1 a month, please do so. I could really use the support, now that we're starting to gain some ground on YouTube. Rumble, I've been looking for a way to kind of, promote Rumble. Unfortunately, there's only so much I can do from a perspective of a creator. So if you do have a Rumble, and if you are supporting me on YouTube and you also have Rumble, if you could just support me also on Rumble, that would be so much appreciated. And I would really love that. Like I said, if you can spare $1 from my Patreon page, go for it. Like I said, you can find all kinds of links in the description field below the video, but also you can also go to my community page on YouTube and it will be there. The link is there. You can just click it. Once you click it, it'll take you to my page and you can pick $1, $3, $5, or $10. Whatever you can spare, to help me support the show, is so much, needed at this point. And again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, whatever you can do. If you can only do a free thing, that's fine too. We're just going to continue to rise on YouTube, and hopefully, I can also get the support through you guys as well. As of right now, the count is 4,070 subscribers. So again, guys, I am so overwhelmed, so happy, that you all enjoy hearing me talk about one of the greatest wrestlers, or the greatest wrestler in my opinion, to ever live. My newest episode is currently at, I'm just going to refresh the page here. It's 14,665 views. Again, guys, so awesome. I thank you so much for doing that. It's really been a fun ride, and I've had to kind of watch what I say, but when you're talking about wrestling, there's nothing better than talking about, a great man, a great wrestler, and my favorite wrestler to ever, come down the pike. And I just think that if he were here, he would say he is also so happy with all the support that I'm getting, because we're talking about him. So wherever you are, Curt, this is all for you. With that said, like I said, all links will be in the description field. If you can support me as low as $1 a month, guys, go to my Patreon page. You can find it below this video. You can also find it on my community page on YouTube. There's a link there. You just click it, pick your tier, and whenever I get the notification that you've become a Patreon supporter, I will give you whatever perks you need. So if you do the $3, you get your name read on the show. Excuse me, if you do the $1, you get your name read on the show. If you do the $3, it's your name on the show, plus you get to ask me questions, which I will read and answer on the show. If you do the $5, you get a behind the scenes, and I will actually start doing, like a little behind the scenes, thing of how I get my show together, what exactly I'm doing during my show. So I'll actually have like a camera watching me. If you can do the $10, which is all of that, you also get a blooper reel for $5. And trust me, guys, I do screw up a lot. And you'll probably see behind the scenes and then like a blooper reel of just that. But I also have some audio bloopers too. So, and if you can do the $10, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You get all that, and I will do a live patron show where you guys get to ask me questions in a live chat about me, about Curt, about anything you can think of wrestling, or just you want to know more about me. I will, do a tell all in the live patrons, shows. But that's for $10. If you can spare it, great. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know Curt would thank you too. And remember, everybody, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.